What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at Black Bolt and Triton. So let's see what we've got going on. Let's check it out. As promised, today we'll be taking a look at the Black Bolt Triton 2-pack. Let's see what we've got going on. Taking a look at the package, we are continuing with the Inhumans. You've got logos at the top and bottom. Triton over here, Black Bolt over here. You can see some extra heads, extra hands, some pieces in here. So no effect pieces it seems, but you've at least got some pack-ins. Flip it to this side, you get some good images of Black Bolt and Triton there. Flip it to this side, you got the Marvel Legends logo, their names, and smaller images at the bottom. Flip it to the back, slightly expanded images, important information at the bottom. There's your blurb. Exposure to the Terrigen Mist granted Black Bolt the power to shatter mountains whenever he speaks. So he rules Attilan as a silent king with the help of fellow Inhuman Triton, whose transformation from Terrigenesis allows him to breathe underwater. Back to the front for one last look. Let's get them out of the box. Fresh out of the package, we can take a look at Black Bolt and Triton here. And this is a pretty solid 2-pack right off the bat. You get extra heads for each character. You've got the extra hands. This Black Bolt looks like a serious upgrade to our previous Black Bolt figures. And Triton is a new character. So we've got a lot to like just on the surface alone. Let's take a closer look. Moving in closer, we can get a good look at Black Bolt here, and you can see some really nice detail in that head sculpt. You've got some pretty solid paint work going on there. He's got these blue eyes that really stick out. I like the detail that's added in there. Really nice looking. It's got this black with the silver, so I like that because, you know, I think the previous version I have is more of that dark blue. So I am glad I'm getting this version with the black suit instead. It really just balances off of that silver lining, and I dig it. There is a closer look at your first head sculpt. Again, you can see the finer details, the paintwork really coming through there. Let's take a look at the alternate head. Here's a look at your alternate head, which gives you this screaming face. Man, this really makes me want a power effect. You can see like the picture here of the Diamond Select Super Scroll that comes with this. That something to that effect would have looked great with this Black Bolt figure, and this would have been a great time for them to create something like that. For your hands, you do get a set of fists, you get a set of flared out hands, and you get a set of open hands. For your articulation, the head will look down to there, chin just about touching the chest. Head will look up and back to there, so great range backwards. You do get minimal rock in there, but plenty of movement around. Of course, you are on the butterfly, so you do get that in the shoulder. And the arms work all the way around. They will go up and out to about there, so pretty good. Upper bicep cut. You are double jointed pinless at the elbow. Nothing at your forearm. Hinge at the wrist. For the torso, you do have the ab crunch and hip swivel. Your legs will kick up to about there, so not too bad. They'll go back to about there and then out to there. Upper thigh cut, double jointed pinless at the knee, boot cut, hinge and swivel at the ankle. For comparison, here he is backed up against our Walgreens version, so this gives you an idea, right? We've come from this version being on the Bucky cap to our more modern version being more of the Vulcan buck. That really does show you the difference there. A little bit extra height, a little wider in the body as well. Certainly some improvements on the overall aesthetic of the figure. One thing you don't get, though, is the effect on the headpiece for this newer version, but you do get those upgrades overall, right? Better buck, better figure in general, so I do like seeing that. And here he is backed up against our Walgreens Medusa. In case you decided not to upgrade to the newer one, this is what you're looking at. Conversely, here he is backed up against the new Medusa, and this is a solid combination, right? I get it. We don't want to have to upgrade all these figures again, but some of these figures are worth the upgrades, and this might be the case for both of these. At least in my opinion, it is. Here's a look with your winged pieces on. So they do give you the option for an open or a closed version. So depending on the look that you're going for, you do have those options. And they just snap right into the back of the arms there. Moving over to Triton, we'll take a look here so we can see the overall design of the figure. You've got the scaled texture there, which does give it that underwater-esque look, right? The scales, the fins, etc. really leans into the look of Triton. So you do like to see that. You get this metallic purple paint going down the side for a little bit more of that scaled type look. So I'm enjoying that. In the fin, you get a little extra paint there. So you do get a little more to the overall aesthetic. He's got these yellow eyes that really stick out. Let's look a little closer at the head sculpt. Taking a look at the first head sculpt here, as I said, you do get that extra shading in the fin up there. A little bit of a deeper blue just to give it some extra depth. Pretty good looking brow here, really concentrated sort of look with a stern expression. Yellow eyes again just piercing through. And then you do get the pointy ears as well, just for an overall cool look. Here's a look at your alternate head, so a slightly more modern look, but still with a lot of good detail. You've got some brushing over the mask here, which gives it sort of a dingy look, still with the yellow eyes, the blue shading in the fin, but some extra detailing and texture throughout this head sculpt that you can see here. It gives it more of that scaling type look. So either way, you've got good options. I'll be sticking with the classic look, but both of these are cool. For your hands, you do get a set of fists, and you get a set of flared out hands. For your articulation, the head will look down to there, chin not quite touching the chest, but pretty close. Head does look up and back to there, so that'll be good for like a swimming type pose. You like that range. You get a little bit of rock in there, plenty of movement side to side, and of course all the way around. You do have that butterfly in there, so you get a little bit of wiggle in the shoulder. Arms will work all the way around. They will go up to there, so you get good range upward. Upper bicep cut, double jointed pinless at the elbow, nothing at your forearm, hinge at the wrist. For the torso, you do get the ab crunch and hip swivel. The belt is a separate piece, so you can move that up for better movement. Legs will kick up to there, pretty good kick. Legs will go back to about there, and then out to there. Upper thigh cut, double jointed pinless at the knee, boot cut, hinge and swivel at the ankle. For comparison, here he is backed up against our Walgreens Black Bolt. Again, he's got some height on there, a much more updated buck, so that makes sense. Still pretty slim though for Triton, so I do think that looks good. And then here he is backed up against Karnak, who uses a little bit more of that pizza Spidey type buck, very slender, questionable for some, I suppose, but that gives you an idea here. Both a little slim, but Triton definitely has a little bit more width to him than Karnak here. And then here is a quick look at your extended Inhumans family, so you can get an idea of how this is all coming together. I'm digging it. I like the aesthetic. I like that this is going to be a full display. So, yeah, let's keep it going. All right, folks. Well, there you have it. There is your Marvel Legends Inhumans Black Bolt and Triton 2-pack. It's a cool pack. A couple of things I would have liked to have seen in effect for Black Bolt. I really would like to capture that in the display without having to go to a third party to get the effect, right? At this point, we've had several Black Bolts in Marvel Legends. That would have been a good time to give us the effect. What I like about this set, though, we get 2 heads for each of these figures, right? So I have the options. We get the extra hands. For Black Bolt's wing pieces, you do get the closed and open versions, which is a no-brainer, so I appreciate that that is included. And both of these are just good-looking figures. At the end of the day, Black Bolt is a worthy upgrade, whether you just think that you needed it or not. It is a much better looking figure than the previous. That's not to say that you have to upgrade it. You may be happy with that one, and that's fine. But for me, this was the worthy upgrade. Triton looks cool, right? I'm liking it. I love the aesthetic. Green and purple just work for characters. That's why it's such a common color combination, right? But yeah, Triton looks good. So I don't have a lot of complaints about this pack. I like it. I'm happy with it. I like the offering. I like where the display's going. So a lot of good things to say. Folks, that's the 2 cents. I do appreciate you checking out the video. Of course, you can always find me on any of these socials down here. Most importantly, though, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe below. And until next time, take it easy.